This is the Lost Tiger silver coin from the nation of Cambodia. This nation survived communism and is working towards a better tomorrow. Today we will dive deep into this coin and discover if it is right for your collection here on the Culture of Currency. Welcome back to the stories behind the silver and the culture behind the coins. Today, as mentioned, we are traveling to Cambodia to discuss this coin. This is the first coin I have from Cambodia, and this being said, it is customary that I do a nation overview so that we can understand the significance of what we see, as well as accurately decide the cultural relevance tied to this coin. If you find my video rewarding, I urge you to hit the like button so YouTube can offer it to others. I always find holding a coin that reflects a nation or people's experience ties my enjoyment of the coin to the experience of others. This being said, let's understand Cambodia. As you can see on this map, we have Cambodia, which is roughly 1.5 times the size of the state of Pennsylvania, and it is next to Laos, Vietnam, and Thailand. As you saw in our video over the Lost Tiger, being in close proximity to Vietnam during the Vietnam War was not a fun time. We will touch on why in a second. This is Southeast Asia, an area that is tropical, lush, and teeming with life, making it a place where humanity is easily sustained on the bounty of the land. This being said, a noble kingdom once lay here. As the Dark Ages were unfolding in Europe, what would become the largest religious building in the world was being pieced together in Cambodia. This is Angkor Wat. This was constructed under the orders of King Surya Varman II for the Khmer Empire and was originally a temple to honor the Hindu god Vishnu. This building eventually enshrined the king as a mausoleum. Angkor means capital city, whereas Wat translates to temple grounds. This amazing building tells the story of a people as it originally was fully Hindu in structure, but later was converted to a Buddhist structure as after King Surya Varman II died, this temple was sacked by the Charms, who were neighboring Vietnamese and were Buddhist. Eventually the temple was taken back and the Khmer Empire restored, but this new king had thought the Hindu gods had abandoned him and therefore converted himself and the nation to Buddhism. Many of the ancient sculptures and themes were replaced by Buddhist art. It should even be of note that in the period of the Renaissance, where giant cathedrals and castles dotted the landscape in Europe, a Portuguese friar who visited this land noted that this edifice's beauty could not be captured with a pen. In fact, let us think on these words written by a French missionary in the 1800s as he contemplated the largest pre-industrial metropolis. One of these temples, a rival to that of Solomon and erected by some ancient Michelangelo, might take an honorable place beside our most beautiful buildings. It is grander than anything left to us by Greece or Rome, and presents a sad contrast to the state of barbarism in which the nation is now plunged. This is a very important point, as these visits by the French travelers eventually led to France taking in Cambodia as a protectorate, meaning it basically was a French province. It should be of note that the king of Cambodia today is the only king on our planet of French descent. This would be a part of French Indochina. Cambodia was given independence, however, it was a constitutional monarchy in the mid-1950s, which led to some dark times. Cambodia wanted to remain neutral in many of the affairs of the world, which led to some issues. Areas of Cambodia became some of the strong supply lines to the North Vietnamese during the Vietnam War and thus caused issue for the United States. Aerial bombing was one of those issues. As we learned on our video over the neighboring nation of Laos, sometimes being too close to the enemy is just as bad as being the enemy. Laos was the highest bombed per capita nation in the world, whereas Cambodia hosts the largest amount of amputees per capita due to the amount of landmines that are littered all over the nation. It is estimated that 4 million are still laying in wait. Some experts believe that there are 300 to 700 amputations per month. This is bad, but it's not the most unfortunate part, as those days were yet to come. After some power struggle and coups, a group called the Khmer Rouge took over. Rouge is the French word for red, and yes, it draws a direct line to the communist regime following the trend of North Vietnam. The Khmer Rouge modeled itself after Mao's China, which we all know is not best practices. The regime's great leap forward marched people from the cities to the rural areas for work projects. Farms were built and anything considered Western, from medical facilities to libraries, were destroyed. This was a dark time, as Marxism needed to pry religion and self-reliance from the people so that the state would be the only thing worshipped. This regime, therefore, was sided with a genocide, as it murdered anywhere from 1.5 to 3 million of its own people. This is also where the killing fields lie, where over 1 million are estimated to be buried dead in the surrounding fields. Religious and educated people were the first and most violently targeted, as they were deemed a threat to the state. 1/4 of the total population is estimated to have been killed. Something as simple as eyeglasses were as deadly as the yellow star, as anything that deemed one as educated was a death sentence. Muslims were one of the most heavily targeted groups, just as areas of China are today. There are many walking around today who were alive to see this type of atrocity, and if you happen to know somebody from Cambodia in their 60s, there's a good chance they saw some horrible things. In fact, the monarchy was not restored until 1993 and is thankfully still the way of the land. I say thankful because it is better than the former communist leadership, but there are still miles of improvement needed, as Cambodia is estimated to have over 250,000 people still enslaved and over 750,000 people's property seized by the government, and a list as long as Santa's hosting human rights issues like torture, murder, and corruption. This is often not the fault of the people but the leadership, so if you know someone who is from Cambodia, give them a hug and ask them about their experience. This is such a beautiful land that captures the delta of the Mekong River and should be of interest to every country. Now that you understand Cambodia, let's take a look at this fantastic coin and place it on our 60-point scale. When we happen upon the front, we are met with a fantastic image of Angkor Wat. This temple has to be one of the wonders of the world. I would love to visit this place one day, and what I particularly like is the perspective of the image. It is not straight on, but at a slight angle, which gives us more depth to the trees and architecture. We often see buildings represented from a direct center. This flattens the perspective and leaves out depth. This is not the most refined of finish, but with the amount of busyness this building holds, it makes sense to keep the rest of the sides simple. We see the font also is simple and a good size to balance the final product. This scores an 8. When we move to the reverse, we see the focus of this coin. Much like the nation of Laos, the tiger is an animal that needs to be present for a balanced ecosystem. Tigers were hunted and pushed out of Cambodia for some time, but there are many working to raise awareness and rehabilitate these cats. We notice this is labeled the Lost Tiger, and that is because many experts think tigers have been completely eradicated from the natural parts of Cambodia. This coin serves in a series dedicated to tell that story. This year's coin, which is the second in a series, hosts our feline friend resting in state, peeking out from vegetation, but not committed to leaving his rock. I love the textures and elements and play, and particularly like the treatment of the leaves that escape the inner design towards the rim. That's an excellent touch. The text is well played and it does not draw the eye from the image. This scores a 9. Now we travel to mintage. Here is a coin that has a remarkably low mintage at 10,000. This is surprising as it was competitively priced with many higher minted coins. Mintage scores a 9. Cultural significance is our next area. We saw on the obverse the Angkor Wat structure, which has got to be the most iconic structure in Southeast Asia. On the reverse, we have acknowledged the local fauna in the tiger and the movement to reestablish populations. It would be impossible to not score it a 10. For collectability, we have a beautiful coin in a series from the nation of Cambodia. We also recognize this coin for low mintage and well-designed finish. This series, and really silver from Cambodia in general, does not move the market, and if you did not happen upon this coin, it is likely you would not know it existed or you would not move mountains to get one, therefore it scores a 6. Our last area is uniqueness. The obverse of this coin is obviously unique, as it is only found in Cambodia. The problem is the tiger is such a popular theme. It is done often, and what is also true is we just came off the lunar year of the tiger, which flooded the market with tiger coins. The obverse is very unique, but the reverse is less so it scores a 6. This brings us to our final thoughts and score. The Cambodian tiger crosses the line at 48 out of 60, and the last words I have on this coin are that it's an amazing coin for collectors to possess. It tells a haunting story that reminds us that humans are capable of such amazing things like building the Angkor Wat or saving the tiger, as well as the darker things like the eradication of the tiger and the genocide that led to the killing fields. Coins should tell a story, and this one certainly does. It is my hope that you enjoyed this video and that you remember to always stay classy and current with the culture of currency.